to the top. Alrighty. Let's find Big Sis.
Lekker.
Hey, Wakan.
What's up? I see Zoom. I think everything else is catching up.
Okay, cool. I haven't read one of those screenshots that you sent me. I'm honest. Um, when I got out the podcast with Top G, I sent you a screenshot. It was 6:88, and I called up at 4:15. Went to the depot. We had some recordings there. Went back to the team because I still have a day job. As soon as we're done here, I'm going to give you a call. But is it something
Yes.
like drastic, urgent, or not really?
No, it's not urgent.
Okay, but is it important?
No, only if you've got questions.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Cool. No, but we'll catch up after the live. How's your day?
Busy, but good, very productive.
Okay, cool. I've got a different strategy to those still images that I need to send you because it literally, I'm gonna send it to you like early in the morning when I'm in the gym, and then when you wake up, you can message me and then we can discuss them.
That's fine. Yes, I've got a different plan for them as well.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Lekker.
Lekker.
Okay, we are live on Facebook.
Okay.
I think Instagram just needs to catch up a bit here, and so does YouTube. But I think now that Facebook is up, very soon follow.
Yes.
Okay, let's just make sure everything's on, and
YouTube
then
is on.
okay. So
Facebook on.
I'll have my WhatsApp open on my phone so that you can shoot the questions my way.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Lekker. Bye. Just want to find this scroll back quickly. My friend, I promise you I'm not ignoring you. I promise you, we're just on a TikTok live.
Oh, Jesus. Goodbye.
Yeah. Bye. Enjoy your night. We'll tune tomorrow.
All right. That's tomorrow.
Okay. Keep it real. Always.
Always.
Bye, my friend. Bye. Okay. Cool. Is everything up?
Yes.
What is happening? TikTok. Is there more than one person on TikTok? Are there 3 people?
Can I please see?
Okay, cool. Just making sure everything is up. Everybody can see me. I see some people joined on Zoom as well. Lucky to have you guys here. What a day, man. Shit. We haven't had one in nearly Mr. George, Top G himself, how to smoke cigars. So I've been saving these bad boys that were sealed with wax that I bought especially for this occasion. And I showed him how to cut it, how to light it with a blowtorch. And I think the last 20 minutes of the podcast, we were smoking cigars in the studio. When I walked in here now, I'm like, this smells like in here.
Yeah, it does linger.
You can still smell it, eh?
Yeah.
Good. What's happening, everybody? TikTok running.
Yes.
I know that's where most of the questions are coming.
185.
Awesome to have you guys here. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to give you a brief state of the nation. What's happening in Mitmac world, in Mitmac town. I just received, literally 5 minutes before I walked in, I received a very interesting stat. I'm going to quickly go through it and then we'll kick it off.
Lekker.
February, we had Power Month. March, we increased. April, we increased it again. May, we increased it drastically. June, even better. July, slightly down. August, slightly up on July. September, up. And then this month, October 2025, it is promising to be the ultimate record month in our company's history. So thank you very much, South Africa, for supporting us. And thank you very much to everybody who submitted a vehicle that they are selling. I normally take 2,500 WhatsApps a day. I live in front of my computer. Today, I didn't even have an opportunity. Sorry, it might sound crass, to go and take a pee. It was literally back to back to back to back. Came into the studio. We had a 2 hour, about 2.5 hour session with George and his team. And when I came out, my WhatsApps were on zero when I went in. And when I came out, they were on 700 missed conversations. So we did send out all the offers. The team is working around the clock to send you guys the offers. If you reacted to my signal, to please send me some cars that you want to sell. Hopefully tomorrow evening. And what's tomorrow? Is Thursday. Hopefully by Friday, we are broke and we have no money in the bank account, because that's my job, to make sure the company goes broke each and every day. So as the money comes in, it needs to be pre-spoken for, pre-booked, and obviously paid for, so that we can collect your car. How this Q&A works for the past 2 weeks, it's been phenomenal. If you have a question, what do you need to do?
I'm just gonna put the TV a little bit to the
If
side.
you have a question that you need answered, whether it's you having a raw deal at a dealership, you having a good deal at a dealership, you may be looking to purchase a vehicle, and I'm not saying you should buy it from me. Whatever questions that you have, unsureties, we've touched on interest rates, we've touched quite heavily on how to pin up the banks against each other so that you get the best rate. We had a customer situation earlier today where the gentleman in his mind had 12%. So obviously he speaking to friends, family members, colleagues, people that have bought cars, and they said, aim for 12%. And initially we got an all bank decline, first time buyer. I explained to the gentleman, listen, we have you on the wrong car, because the three important factors are affordability. Can he afford the installment? In that instance, it was yes. Then we have the equity. Is the vehicle overpriced in terms of retail? How far away is the car from retail? So on a very, very strong customer at a diamond dealership, we're allowed to go 140% over retail. So if a car retails for 100,000, it can sell for 139,900, for example. And then the third one was where the problem lied, and it lied on both sides. So risk, 50% of the risk lies on the vehicle, 50% of the risk lies on the consumer. Now, being a first-time buyer, the banks declined him because we tried our very best to go and get him approved on a 2018 vehicle. The moment we switched that up to a newer vehicle, sorry, not a brand new vehicle, a 2021 deal approved at one bank, we fought the validations through. Initially, they wouldn't use all the income because there's additional incomes like overtime and commissions. Eventually, once we got it through, the bank said, okay, we'll validate the deal on this specific vehicle as it is structured. And they came back with 15.7%. So box, called in a couple of people. I won't say favors, but really worked hard for this customer, got him a 13.75% interest rate on that specific car. And then we had to have the conversation. Uncle B, I want 12%. I said to brother, I want to give you 0% because the banks make too much money out of the customers. They just getting richer and richer. So if I can, I'll get you 0%. But here's the reality of the situation. To be able to get 12%, it's easier if I have two bank approvals. Let's say, for example, 15.7 and a 15.4. I'll go to one bank, pin them up against the 15.4, and then just box them against each other to get the lowest rate. The problem is, we only have validations and approval from one bank. We can't get lower than 13.7 because the BDO is a fancy word for the relationship manager between us and the banks. So how they organogram, hey, fancy word. Do you know what an organogram means?
Yes.
Elsie doesn't know what it means, but she says it does. But the organogram in the banking industries, we have a BDO. The BDO reports to the regional, and then it goes up, 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 up. So the BDO had already reached the limit with the regional, where that person said to us, listen, if you don't take this interest rate, we also prepared to walk away from the deal. It's a first time buyer. This is a risky customer. We are not going to do it lower. So had the conversation, and the customer was still, in all honesty, I would as well combat at 13.7. I want 12, I want 12, Uncle B. Eventually I had to say, listen, put your phone off speaker. I want to have a conversation with you only. It's just two men speaking. I want you to hear what I say. If we don't make a decision on this interest rate, by the way, we worked out the difference in installment. So what monetary value will it cost him per month between the two rates? It was 100 Rand. So 100 Rand is a lot of money, but it's also not a lot of money. So you want your credit record to start afresh. You want to build that up. And obviously the second time around, the third time around, there'll be multiple bank approvals, because this current bank will report to ITC each and every month end. Once the debit order goes through, they have to report everything was sweet. There was enough money in the account. We did debit the account, and then move forward. Once you trade that vehicle in, we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, depending on how well you handle your accounts, this one and the rest. Then we can pin them up against each other. And I fight for prime. It doesn't matter. Like, I want you to be able to say, Uncle B had my back, and then come back to me and obviously buy from us again. But eventually I had to have that talk with him. Said, brother, I think it's this thing that's making me cough.
No.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
We didn't even finish the whole cigar in the studio. Top G, the first pull that he took, he actually inhaled, and he was coughing his lungs out. I hope that's on camera.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely on camera. But I said to him, brother, listen, here's where we are. Reality is, this is the only deal on the table. If I go and make too many changes, eventually, after a certain amount of changes, depending on the bank and your risk profile, the bank just blocks it. It declines, and then I can't get it back in a validated state. So we have to make a decision, and we have to do it now. And it is what it is. Once I had that conversation, unfortunately, it's not, the Uncle Bobby that you see on TikTok. What's up, you legends? It has to be, that conversation is very direct. It's unemotional. It's logical. If then. So you're welcome to say, I want 12%. I'm going to send it in another 1 or 2 times, and we're just going to get a decline, and they'll move on, and we've got a problem. And then once we did that, boom, customer knows where he's standing. He knows the difference between what 12% means on his monthly installment. It's 100 Rand. And then the long-term implication is he's going to have to pay, 1.75% more on the total amount borrowed annually, because that's a compounded interest rate. That's how much you'll have to pay back. You wanted to know what the other products were, the warranties, etc., the insurance, all this other stuff. Boom, decision was made, and we carry on, we move forward. So having said that, if you have any questions, either around interest rate or around approvals, around maybe you've been declined and you've got some questions around why you were declined, and perhaps I can give you, I'm not allowed to give you advice, but I can give you an opinion, and we'll pick it up from there. So any questions in the chat, just shoot it in the chat. The girls are both looking at, and Dave on the other side are looking at the chats. If there's a cool question, screenshot, they'll send it to me, and I'll process it in real time with you. So I'm ready for your questions. There's no format. There isn't really a slide that I've prepared. I just want to give you off the cuff information that you require. So having said that, you're welcome to please drop the cake there. Okay, perfect. Having said that, any questions, please shoot it now, and we'll pick it up. Okay, they're already starting to come in. I've got 3. I'm going to process the first one. And the first one is from Harry. What is the term I use for asking the dealership what the bank recommended rate is? So what you want to do is, if a dealership phones you and says you're approved, okay, great, who approved me? And then they'll say, for example, Westbank and Marquis Finance. All right, cool, perfect. May I please have the podium? And the term is the podium. podium, like a podium that you stand on, exactly the same. And on the podium, typically if you have a MFC podium, what they like to do lately is very cool. They offer you something called a step-up payment. So I'm going to process that very, very quickly. What step-up payments do is they take an installment which is lowest as possible for year one, and then steps up year two a little bit more per month, year 3, 4, 5, 6, however long you finance that vehicle. So the first 3 years, it will be each year it will increase, but it will show you exactly how much it will increase by. So you'll know the date when it will increase. So say, for example, it starts off at 3850. Year two typically will be something like 4087. Year three, 4352, and then it will go all the way up to 5,000 Rand per month. More or less 32 to 36 months is the perfect time if you didn't take a very long-term and balloon, or you didn't load a vehicle like 50, 60, 70,000 Rand load. By the way, there was a record attempt to load on a vehicle, and it was, when I saw that OTP, I said, what are we doing here? I'm just not going to do this. This is not right. We have to have a conversation with the customer. But anyway, I'll get to that now. So it's the podium, and on the podium you have the recommended rate. The recommended rate will be, let's say, for example, in this case, 13.75 linked, which means it's a variable rate. If the government decides that, inflation, everything's under control, we want to stimulate the economy, they'll bring the rate down, typically 0.25%. That's what's been happening lately. Knock on wood, it must continue. And according to a lot of sources, the next time around that the top G sit together, it will come down again 2.5%. It won't come down 0.5%. So, and then they'll give you a recommended fixed rate. Now, it differs from banks to banks, but it can go all the way up to plus 2.5%, which means if you, just for simple maths, if you have a 12% linked rate, to fix the rate, it will be 14.5%. So they should present you with a choice. So, sir, ma'am, linked is 12, fixed is 14.5. Which one do you prefer? Now, the dealership still can go and negotiate that fixed rate a little bit, but not a lot. You can't do the same fixed as linked. If you're a very, very good customer, I had one last week or a week and a half ago where the customer said, Bobs, I know that it might come down, but I just want a budget. I want to be, I don't want to worry about that. I've done the same thing with my home. I want it fixed. So then it went from 11 to 12.75. So it was 1.75% more than the link rate. All that information is displayed on the podium. So I suggest you ask for the podiums, and then on the podiums, there'll obviously be the incentive for the dealer, the DIC. The dealer will, and I'm not saying, majority of dealers will go out and give you the best rate. Some dealers will then prefer to go out and give you the different rate with more DIC. But for me, it's a very simple calculation and conversation. If you guys both match the rate, I will obviously go with the one that's got the high DIC, because this is still a business. We have 200 families that we need to take care of, but only if the rate is matched. Then, externally, the dealership might go and have the conversation and the fight where they can match each other's DIC and take it from there. But your best interest is what's the rate recommended on the podium from all the banks, and then you get to make the decision based on that. So that's the advice I give you. The word that you ask for is called a podium. When is a residual a good idea? I counsel many guys in financial trouble because of it. Thanks. So Jean-Pierre, let me just have a look. Top G just sent me a WhatsApp. Let me just see what he says. 200 dealers. Boom. Okay, just in. Amazing. So the intelligence part of the backend on AutoTrader is launching, and it will be in full force, I think, first week of December. Is that what Top G said today? Yeah, first week of December. But we are definitely definitely super duper excited for those great things to come. So coming back to your question, when is residual a good idea? I always go down to two questions. Okay. And they are as important as each other, which means only if the consumer answers the way that it is favorable for residual will I offer the residual. First question is, Mr. Customer. So what is the person's name? I just want to get your name, so I'll speak to you directly. Seminar Group. Okay. Seminar Group. Your name is Jean-Pierre. So I'll automatically rename you to JP. So JP, Japes, are you the type of person who drives a vehicle like the average South African drives a vehicle, 32 to 36 months? Or are you the type of person that likes to quickly rotate vehicles? I've got customers that drive a vehicle 6 months, 9 months max, and then they change. So which type of person are you? Then the customer, I'll give you the favorable when I recommend residual and the unfavorable. So if the customer says, Bobs, I normally keep a car 3-4 years and then I trade it in. Okay, that's fine. That's the first qualifying question. The next qualifying question is the following. Sir, JP, Japes, do you do 25,000 kilometers or less per year, which is the average South African mileage, or do you do more than 25,000 kilometers? Do we need to organize your house so that you can stay at home a little bit? Which one of the two? And the customer will think about it. Then we'll do a calculation. So if it's yes, I do 25,000 and below, then I will present a residual option. Here's the challenge. If he says or she says no to one of them, the sweet spot with residual is 36 months, 3 years. So you have the debt that you owe. I don't know if the camera can see my hand. And then you will have the break-even point. They meet at 36 months. So in 3 years, Mr. Customer, JP, I will be able to take you out of this vehicle into a new vehicle without you having to pay in money or me having to load money on top of the new car. 36 months is the sweet spot. Now, if you think about it this way, if the customer does 50,000 kilometers a year, it's not going to be 36 months because in 3 years, and in fact, I had a customer today phone me. His son drives a Polo Viva, bought a brand new Polo Viva, drives 1,000 kilometers a week, 1,000, which means in 1 year, the car will have 54,000, 55,000, let's say 50,000 kilometers in 1 year. In 3 years, that car will have 150,000 kilometers. Now, that customer must not take residual value because in 3 years, when it's time to trade in the vehicle, his equity will be negative, not positive, which means he will owe more than what the car is worth purely based on mileage. Even if the car was kept in pristine condition, because the mileage is higher than the average, his trading price will be lower than what the current debt is. So those are the two important questions. Are you going to use the car for 3 years or more? Do you drive 25,000 kilometers or more? I'm going to use it for 3 years. I drive less than 25,000 Ks. Good idea. I'm going to use it for 3 years. I drive more than 25,000 kilometers. Bad idea. I use the car for 2 years max and I drive less than 25,000 kilometers. Bad idea. Because at that point on 2 years, we're going to have probably, I'm just thumb sucking, but about 15% of the value. So on a 200,000 Rand car, you'll have 30, 40, 50, depends on the condition of the vehicle. That is going to be what we call a shortfall that you either have to pay in or have to load on the next car. Now, the record that I was speaking about, it's a young man. He's 28, very successful, very, very high earner, big income, bought 2 vehicles. Like all young men at that age, the brain is still developing. I'm 41, mine not even started developing yet. So men sometimes We don't think about things logically. He bought two vehicles that are completely wrong. He had loaded on both. The vehicles are 4 months old. That shortfall on those two vehicles, very expensive vehicles, was 1.8 million rand. Okay. Now he wants to go out of those two very fancy cars into an even fancier car. It's an Italian car. It's the one with a horse. I said to him, brother, here's the challenge. If you load 1.8 million rand to get yourself out of these two cars into a new car, 1.8 million rand is before interest. This car, you need to go to Home Affairs, buy it a ring, get married, and die with this car. It's not a good idea. Yeah, but I always want. It's not a good idea. Even though those Italian cars with the horses have a big retail value. Think about it this way. On a 4 million rand car, if you are a very good customer, what is 40%? So 40% is 410, 800, 1.6 million rand. You can load on top of a 4 million rand car and sell it for 5.6 million rand car, 5.6 million rand as an amount that you finance, and the bank will still say, sweet, yes, we can do it. The challenge is it's still a 4 million rand car retail, which means trade will probably be 10% less, 3.6 million rand car, and you're financing 5.6. So you're already, when you put your finger on that signature, you 2 million rand, 2.2 million rand in the hole. So it's not a good idea. Don't do it. That's before interest. You literally, you can never, ever sell that car, ever, until you pay it off, which means you're going to have to pay this car off for 96 months because you also don't want your installment to climb so high. So I hope I answered your question. Sometimes I take a detour, I'm sorry, but it should be sufficient to answer it. Councilman, okay, that one we answered already. Let me see what else came through. I like it. The questions are coming in nice and fast.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Right, next question from Fella. Bobby, Westbank is giving me 14%. Can I get 11% from other banks? I don't know when you joined the live, but Fella, that's a nice, cool nickname. So Fella, let me give you some advice. Uncle Bobby touched on it briefly. Yes, you may request 11%. Depends on how strong you are as a customer, what your score is, what your credibility is, historical data, what that shows. And then the other question is there an approval by other banks? So I'm going to give you both versions. If there's no approval by other banks and Westbank is your only option, then they can't give you a reduced rate. That's the rate. If you have, for example, if the dealer says, listen, we'll present you Westbank, the question that you should ask is, who else approved me? So Absa approved you, send me the podium. Absa gave me 13. Use the podium from 13 to go and box against Westbank to potentially lower it down until they're both equally unhappy. And at that point, they also have a break-even point based on your risk profile and the car that you're buying. So what is that degree? The hardest degree to get, it's called an actuary. So the actuaries went and studied historically, if we repossess polos, we tend to get 110% of market value. But if we repossess an Alfa Romeo, we get 60% of market value. So it's a higher risk car, that is a thing, versus a Polo Vivo, that's a lower risk car. So if you default and you don't pay, we have to bring the car back in and sell it off auction. The chances of us getting our money back on a Polo is a lot higher than an Alfa or Peugeot or Renault or one of these brands. Renault's not that bad, but Peugeot and Alfa, they take punches. So I hope that answers your question. Single bank, very hard. Multiple banks, a lot easier. More leverage for the dealership to go and fight the banks for your best interest rate. Okay, next. What is the best car to buy for a woman? WJ Scoba. So the best car to buy for a woman. Firstly, obviously we live in South Africa. We know it's not the safest country. It's the best country in the world, but we do have our problems like every other single country. So the best car to buy for a woman would be a car that is a low ranking car on the hijack list. So if you want to go and buy a Polo Vivo as a girl, it's perhaps not the best idea. Or a Polo TSI R-Line with sunroof and big wheels, not the best idea. So I would suggest something that is low risk in terms of theft and hijack. That should be your first priority, depending on your income. Um, Obviously, you need to be able to afford to maintain the vehicle. So if it's got a motor plan, sweet. If it doesn't, then you need to understand what services will cost you and what the maintenance of that vehicle will cost you. That's very important. And then the most important part for a woman is not to have low profile tires, because you're going to keep on scratching rims and hitting potholes. That was a joke, and don't take me out. Okay, next. Bobby is my hobby. What's up, Buttercup, my beautiful wife? Bobby is my hobby. So thank you for being on the live. I expect a question from you, babe. So what's the question? Shoot me a question. Um, Anton, Vas Muth. I hope I didn't butcher your surname. Insurance costs can push the car out of your budget. You get a great finance deal and you call around for insurance and it's too high for you to afford both. Can Triple M try partner with a reputable insurance to assist their loyal clients? Okay, so we do partner with an insurance company. It's King Price. We've got a very unique, super unique offering that we give our customers. So the pro rata, let's say, for example, a customer buys a car today. Pro rata insurance means from today till month end, we'll give you for free. If you take delivery on the first, pro rata is until the end of that month. And then the next month is also for free. However, insurance is a very cutthroat business. For those of you that didn't know, the most expensive Google ad word is insurance. So when you type in Google insurance, the person that's ranking at the top, where it says in little letters, it says ad. If you click on that company, it will most probably, depending on the time of day, so if it's at night, 7-8 o'clock, it's peak hour traffic. If you click on that link, it will most probably cost them anything from 400 to 450 Rand for you clicking on there. So it is a cutthroat business. Having said that, because the competition is so high and this is literally managing risk, they will ask you, how long have you had your license? So if you've had your license for 6 months, you are a higher risk than a person that's had their license for 15 years. Obviously, the guy or girl that's had their license for 15 years has had more experience, can avoid an accident, etc., etc. Where do you stay? So, for example, if you stay in an estate, if you stay in Silver Lakes, for example, let's use Silver Lakes. If you stay in a security estate and it's behind a lock-up garage and you've had your license for 15 years versus if you stay in Soshanguve, not behind a locked-up garage, it's a higher risk area. The type of car that you drive is a higher risk. In a higher risk area, they will charge you more. So your location is important. The type of car is important. If you drive a Hilux or a Fortuner, it's going to be expensive. And I mean, you're going to have a tracker. And then Tracker will have a tracker for your tracker and an extra tracker that you don't pay for. It's expensive. Versus, let's say, for example, what is a low-risk bakkie? One of these Chinese bakkies. They don't get hijacked as much. They don't get stolen as much to be undetected across the border all the way into Maputo. So your insurance on the Hilux will be higher no matter where you stay. Now, layer on top of that, you stay in a high-risk area that is prone to hijackings and car thefts, it will be even higher. Very tough for us as a dealership to control that quotation. The way to make it more favorable to you, this is just a pro tip. I don't always advise you to do that, but in order for you to bring down your premium, you can raise your excess. So for example, zero excess, I'm just thumb sucking, 1,500 Rand per month. 5,000 Rand excess, 1,300 Rand per month. Okay, 10,000 Rand excess, 1,200 Rand or 1,000 Rand per month. The higher your excess, the lower your premium. Now, pay attention. which means you get into a fender bender and some customers take a 25,000 Rand access. Fender bender, the bumper needs to be repaired and the rim needs to be repaired, or a fender, whatever the cost is. If the insurance company quotes you 35,000 Rand and your excess is 25,000 Rand, that means the insurance will only pay 10,000 Rand. So the higher the excess, the more money you have to put in, because the insurance will pay less that. I hope that added value. Great question. Thank you. Nicole Toffer, if you decide then, how long before you can apply for finance? If you are declined, I'm sorry. If you are declined, then how long before you can apply for finance? Nicole, great question. If you receive this feedback from your dealership, sorry, Nicole, you've been declined. We're very sorry. Have a nice day. Okay. That is a weak dealer that's communicating with you. Okay. The conversation should be, Nicole, we've been declined. The reason why we've been declined is, I'm not saying you are, but I'm just giving you an example. So don't say I'm not behind on my Vodacom. Nicole, you've been declined because your Vodacom account is behind for 3 months. Okay. So here's what you need to do in that scenario. Firstly, understand why you declined. If the dealer can't explain it to you, the salesperson, demand that you speak to the F&I, to the finance and insurance person, lady or gent, responsible for your application. He or she needs to tell you, Nicole, you're behind on your Vodacom for 3 months. I need you to catch it up. And typically what I say to my customers is, once you've caught it up, wait 90 days, which is 3 months, so that we can produce bank statements that are clear from a default or from a RD. A RD is a rejected debit order. Vodacom went in, tried to pull their 1,000 Rand contract. There was no money. It's reflecting as a RD on your bank statement. So typically, once everything's caught up, if you were behind, you need to produce 3 months clean bank statements, and then you should get approved. Now, if you listen from the beginning, if the risk decline is because of the age of the vehicle, so if you're a 50-50 customer, you like literally, like one of your hairs is either going to make or break it, you need to go as new as possible within your affordability bracket. So typically, the most searched for car on AutoTrader today, the most searched for car today on AutoTrader, and they've got, I think it's 23 searches per second. It's like 14, 15 million unique searches per month. 3 Series BMW, the most sold car, Polo Viva. So aspiration versus reality, which means if you, Nicole, applied for a 2017 320D BMW and you're a 50-50 customer, you get declined on that vehicle because the risk profile on the vehicle is also high because it's an older car. And you apply on a 2022, 2024, let's say Grand i10 Hyundai, you will most likely get approved. Now, the way that this needs to be approached while saving face or allowing the customer to save face is, Nicole, I'll need to humble you a little bit. So how I do that is, Nicole, I understand that you want the 320D BMW because you've always wanted one since you were young. Okay. Unfortunately, here's the reason why. I'll explain to you the risk factor involved. This is a car that I can give you. So I'm not saying no to you. I'm saying no to the car, but I'm saying yes to this. And this car you can get, okay, right now, today, you're allowed to get this car, but I can't give you this car because the risk profile on this car is way too high for your credit record. I hope that helps you. So if you want me to dig deeper and present me the full story, which by the sounds of things you don't have, so go back to the dealership, find out why you were declined. Even my team, we are a high volume dealer. You get a guy like Ed's making 200 plus calls, getting in 12, 13, 15 apps per day on an approval ratio of 40%. Let's say he gets 10 applications in, 4 get approved, 6 get declined, while making 200 calls, while delivering, while running a team of logistics people around him, assistants. He might be in a hurry and say, sorry, man, we were declined. There's a problem with one of your accounts. if you were declined, you need to understand why you declined, understand the problem, because that's where you'll find the solution. So that's my advice to you. And I lost where I was. Let me just find it. Okay, there we go. Hi, uncle. I earn 11K. Expenses is. Your grammar is like just like mine, but it's R. 3K credit score 660. Will I get a low interest rate if I apply for finance? Shaya, boy. Shaya, great question. And the reality is, if it's your first car that you're purchasing, the answer is no. You're not going to get a great interest rate. You're going to get a average to slightly higher interest rate. You need to, in the beginning of your finance career, accept the reality that you have to swallow that bitter pill, at least the first time around. Make sure that you pay that vehicle on time every time. Build up your trustworthiness, your credit score with the bank, so that the second time you've got leverage. That's the honest answer. It's not what you want to hear, I know, but that's reality. Okay, which car will you never sell? Which car will I never sell? It's an odd question. Which car will I never sell? I want name a brand that I would never sell. I would sell an Alfa. I would sell a Peugeot. I would sell, we sell lots of Renaults. I won't sell a car that I wouldn't give my mom. So for me, the answer is more condition based rather than a brand based. Because the reality is there's no bad brands today. You can't pass all the safety requirements and all the tests that needs to be passed for you to be able to mass produce vehicles and give them. A car's a weapon. In the wrong hands, a car's a weapon. So I don't have a car brand that I wouldn't sell. I'll sell any car as long as the condition of that vehicle is good enough for me to give to my mom. If the condition is good enough, I'll sell you the car, no problem. I am Quincy. Hey Malume, how does trading work? Shit, Malume. I was calling people Malume like 3 minutes ago. Now I'm a Malume. But yeah, Uncle Bobby will give you the short version. Typically, I'm going to explain to you how it works in our environment. You send me, you fill out a form and you say, I've got a trade-in and I want to purchase another vehicle. We'll ask you for photos. So what I always say is, if you take a 320D M Sport, 19-inch wheels, sunroof, LED lights, top spec 320D, and I can see that it's the top spec. And then we have to trade in a 320D, I call it an Avis spec. So it's got like literally nothing. It's got small wheels, no sunroof, no LED lights, no fancy climate control inside, no big screen TV, Avis spec. The difference in trading price will be 100,000 Rand. 100,000 Rand. So then the customer says, Bobs, how much can you pay me on the 320D 2022 model? I said, I don't know, because I don't know what the spec is. So if you want an accurate price, and what's important is because you don't want to get a price from the dealer and then you arrive and you're like, this car's not an M Sport. Or they give you a price as a non-M Sport and your car is an M Sport, and then you're like, this dealer's smoking crack. Why would they offer me? Another dealer offered me 100,000, but that dealer's actually seen your car. So the best way to deal with the trade-in is present photos, front, side, back, inside, cluster, so that we see the mileage, the full description of the vehicle, and the license disc. Then we'll take that information. We've got a lot of AI built into our buying tool. It's called Mitmac Online. So AI will give predictive analytical prices of what we can sell the car for and more or less how long it will take. We've spent like lots of money building that. And then we stopped because Auto Trader just came out with like the best tool ever. So we stopped developing our tool at a stage and we just use Fusion. On the back end, it's got everything, but in more detail, comparing the whole market in the country. So everybody's cars that are listed versus this specific car. And then we'll present you with an offer. Let's say, for example, the offer is 450. The final evaluation takes place because tires, realistically speaking, on a G series run flat tires, easily 20,000 Rand. And people cry like, Bobs, you gave me 450, now you're giving me 430. Are you shouting? Sir, would you accept this car with these tires? No, because it won't even pass road with you, right? Decro will fail this car. So I have to deduct what you didn't mention. If you came from the gate and said, Bobs, here's the car, you need to do tires because they're on the limit. I would have offered you upfront 430. There's no discrepancy between the time that you sent the car, the time that we saw the car. That's the price. I hope that helps you, brother. I want that BMW M2 you just got in. So we actually got in another one. Okay, you mean the red one, that X-Drive. That's not a car, sir. Is it a sir or ma'am? Kegel. So, sir, that's not a car. That's an automobile. It should be on the website already. The customer bought the vehicle a couple of months ago. Highly spec vehicle. Then he wrapped the entire car in PPF, clear PPF film. That was around 75,000 Rand. Literally everything is wrapped, including the roof. Everything that can get a stone chip or a scratch is wrapped. And he's got a lot of spec inside the vehicle. If you spec it out like that, it will cost you just under 1.8 million, so 1.7 something. And he decided, you know what, I want to take that money and I want to split that money between the two kids. And he wants to give the one child half of it, the other child half of it. And then we ended up striking a deal where we're selling it for 1,550. So you'll save a lot of money. And it's a very special color. The color additionally was, I think, 25 or 35,000 Rand. So if you want that car, highly spec, you'll save about 200,000 Rand. If you buy it from us, it's got 900 kilometers. The car is brand new. Customer refused to bring it to us because it was dusty. So he was supposed to bring it to us the previous day, which was Monday. And he said, no, I'm not bringing the car. I'm like, listen, dude, we literally have one of the biggest wash bays at the depot in the country. Like, we can wash the car. And remember, when the car stands here, we need to wash it again. So bring me the car. Don't worry about the dirty car. No, I refuse. Had it washed on Tuesday, brought it. Very nicely spec'd. And that thing is a beast. Very nice car to drive. When is it a good time to trade in a brand new car, or when do you do refinancing? So if you didn't do any loads on your vehicle, meaning you didn't carry baggage from another car into this car, the best time is 32 to 36 months. That's when you reach your break-even point and you won't have to pay money in. If you hold the car for longer, you'll have what we call positive equity, which means, let's say, for example, just thumbsuck, your settlement's 300, but you drove it for 4 years, and the actual amount that the dealership will pay you is 350. Then you can either take that 50,000 Rand as a cashback, the dealership will trade in the vehicle for 350 and not use any deposit on the new car. They'll pay you the 50, or they'll take the 50 and then just put it on top of the other car. But typically, unless something strange was done on the contract, I would suggest 36 months is almost the perfect time for you to trade in. Perfect time is 3 years. Okay, next. Hi, Bobs. From a salesman view, a client would ask, what is better for me, a longer term, like 96 months, or a balloon? As you can't have both, does the 3-year plan work the same way? It's a very good question, and I'm happy somebody asked it. And Jackoy, you Yaku, that's Yaku. Check, that's literally Yaku.
Where cool.
My guy, I trained you. But good question, because when I trained you and you left, 96 months was not yet available, so that wasn't an option. So whoever you're working for now, and I think I know who you're working for, you need to go and ask him this question, but I'm glad you asked me. So I'm going to explain it to you this way. But by the way, the guy that you're working for is a machine, because I also trained him. But having said that, 96 months and 72 months with residual is actually the same thing. The only difference is on the residual contract, if you reach closer to the 72 months, you're now going to have to pop up the money or refinance it for another 2 years, which will be similarly priced. So 96 months, 72 months, it depends. It depends on the customer. How much are they driving? Do they intend to pay this car off and keep it forever and a day and pass it down to their kids and grandkids? So it depends. If they want to keep the car indefinitely and then just, have a 25-year-old car eventually that they're cruising around with, I'd suggest a longer term because they don't need to panic at month 72. Where do I find this extra cash for the 30 or 40% residual? They just continue 96 months, boom, the car's paid up. But the customer needs to understand that he'll pay that vehicle installment for the 96 months. So I hope I answered your question. A lot of dealerships are promoting that people who earn 8 to 10K can afford a car. Is it fair or is it custom? Okay, to custom. All right. So very good question as well. What we've seen, and this is the communication I have with customers. A guy reaches out, Uncle B, just started out, I earn 7,000 Rand. I don't have debt. I live with mom and dad. I need a car. My standard response, it's one of my shortcuts on my WhatsApp for business. Keep hustling, brother. Minimum requirement that we see approvals on is 8,500 Rand. But then, if you think about 30% of your gross income may go towards a car, you can't be looking at a Polo TSI R-Line with a sunroof for 299. Realistically, max 2.8, maybe 3,000 Rand per month, which means your price bracket should be as new as possible for 149.9. That's where you need to be shopping. But it is possible. We have done many on 8.5, but it's hard, man, especially on the first time buy. It's very hard. The car needs to be, typically what I'll say to the customers, here's what I can give you. I can give you a 2023 or 2024 model Grand i10 or a Hyundai Atos, very similar car, and you'll maybe need to pay in a 20 or 25K deposit to get your affordability in line so that the bank can approve you. Cool question. Thank you very much. Okay, let's have a look. We've got more. Hey, started off slow, but now we're moving forward. All right. Abel, can you kindly assist me with the ride for my matric dance? So take it off TikTok. Maybe Elena, you can get into contact with this person. Last month, I think we did 28 or 29 matric dances. We had our record. We had 11 in one day. So I'd love to help you, but if you're in the Eastern Cape, I can't help you. If you're in the Pretoria area, reach out. Elena will take your number, or just put your number in the comments. She'll screenshot it. And if you're in the area, I'll gladly assist you. Uncle Bobby will do that for you. I want to be the uncle that I never had when I went to the matric dance. I used my Toppie score. Me and Vanessa went to the matric dance in my Toppie score. So I never had an uncle with a Mustang, but I could be your uncle with a Mustang. Just reach out to Elena and we can definitely hook it up. Basil puts, okay, Basil, how much weight does your credit score contribute to your approval requirements for finance? And which credit score company is most reputable for car finance application? Is ClearScore valid? Great question. So you need to remember that each bank pulls your record from a different source. So there's TransUnion, there's Experian, and then some of the banks have a combination of all those. So I can't give you an exact number. It's impossible because it depends from bank to bank. However, we pull from Lucid, and Lucid is for us the most accurate because they take everybody's info and they compress it and they give you a very clear view. Lucid is the company that we use. We used to offer a free credit check on our website, and then, yeah, bless you. Thank you. And then what dealers started doing is they started abusing us because we paid for each and every credit check. Then we'll have one guy checking 25 customers and charging those customers like $100 a check and giving them credit score. So I said, I don't know who's a friendly, who's a foe. Just this is a headache. I'm paying 130, 140,000 Rand a month for this free service and we're getting abused. So I shut it off and it's just used internally. So each bank uses a different source of information, number one. Number two, some of them use a combination. Is ClearScore a very good platform? The answer is yes. ClearScore is a very good platform. We use Lucid because we like the combination of all the information together, the way that it's integrated with API in most of our systems, and it comes on the system. We can see if you're behind, there's a little smile upside down. If you're ahead, it's a smile. Then we can sort of predict this customer will be approved. But on Lucid, anything above 690, which is different to Clear Score, tends to be approved. And anything below 690, then myself and the finance team will need new genes, because we're on our knees begging the bank, please approve this customer. He or she really needs a car. Very, very good question, but there's no concrete answer I can give you that you can say, this is the best answer ever, and this is a rule, because there isn't one. They mix it, and sometimes they use only TransUnion, sometimes they use only Experian. Very, very difficult. And you can't say to the banks, stop using this one because it's more strict, use that one. They've got their own scorecards, and their scorecards, by the way, this is something that most people in the industry don't even know. The bank scorecards varies throughout the month. So if the banks are falling behind on their target, the scorecard is eased towards the end of the month. If they've made that target, the scorecard is stricter towards the end of the month. But each bank, luckily, it's not a monopoly, it's a competitive environment, it's capitalism. Each bank varies. So one might ease it off, the other one might tighten it off, or tighten it up. But anyway, you'll have an opportunity to present your case, which is your application, to all the banks. Cool question. Is it possible to finance a car and put the insurance under your parents' name? So also a great question. And is there a complication afterwards? Because your name, legally, the insurance has to be on your name for you to take delivery. Now, some people are naughty. They go and change it and they put it on the parents, because now all of a sudden it goes from, you've got 6 months of experience versus 15 or 20 years of experience. Obviously, the premium will be cheaper. But are you noted as a regular driver? So I'll say this. I don't advise you to do that. You're going to save some money, but insurance is like medical aid. When you end up in the hospital, you're glad you have medical aid. If you come in an accident, you are glad that you have insurance. And if it's not on your name, it's just more ways that a insurance claim, and this is the word they use, can be repudiated, which means we're not paying this because you have actually lied. This is your car, but you're insuring it on your parents' name. Even though you're a regular driver, you're actually not the regular driver. You are the only driver, and you're just trying to get a bit of a discount, putting it on your parents' name. Damien, I got an interest rate of 13.7, 20 years old, first car. Is that normal? Super normal. I actually started this conversation with a customer that also got 13.7, one bank approval. It's the only approved validated deal that we have. That's the only thing on the table. 13.7 is a good interest rate for your current situation. Maybe, if your parents are still around, and I hope they are, they've bought 5, 10, 15 cars through the bank. That's not a good interest rate for your mom or dad, because they've got the credibility, they're buying a newish car, then that interest rate is high for them. But for your current situation, I don't see anything wrong. You can go with it. Is it true that financing with no deposit will give you a lower interest rate due to financing a higher amount? Okay, great question. So I'm going to answer it this way. I did a video where I was walking from my office into the coffee shop explaining this concept. Then a lawyer picked it up. Suit, hair, not bald Uncle Bobby. He's got the hair with a gel suit, with a pen, with a Mont Blanc pen, with a big watch. And then he exactly, word for word, used my script. My video got like 800,000 views. His video got like 3,800,000 views, like overperformed my video. He reaches out, he says, Uncle B, I duplicated your video, I'm blowing up, my shit's viral, like, give me some more content. I'm like, homie, I can't give you my content so you can blow up on social media. You need to be practicing. I can't go and teach, criminal law just because I saw one of your videos. Well done. I'm glad you're blowing up, but I don't want to give you, this is my industry. I'm presenting from my own experience. So here's how it works. Think about it this way. If the bank has to finance R500,000 over 72 months, for example, on your current profile, the chances that you have a 200,000 deposit is very small. If they finance the 500,000 Rand, you have the leverage because of the large amount that you're financing to push them on a rate. Once you sign the contract, the rate cannot be renegotiated. Then put that money in, and the term is called, you can write it down, it's called capital reduction. Once you put that money in, you give them a shout, I need a capital reduction. 72 months remains, your installment goes from 10 grand, 200,000 Rand will drop it down to 6. Now, if you apply 500,000 Rand with 200,000 deposit, your interest rate will be higher. The reason for that is we're not making as much money as a bank over 72 months if we finance 300 versus if we finance 500,000. So the interest rate will be slightly higher. So it's a hack. The banks hate it when I say this. They absolutely, it's frowned upon, but it is true, and I've seen it many, many times. Okay, next question. Let's have a look here if we can get it. Do you have more on a car, the trading, selling and using it as a deposit? Do you get more for a car on a trading or selling it and using that as a deposit? So that's a good question. And generally, you will get more as a trading, and I'll explain to you why, than selling it outright. If you sell the vehicle to a dealer outright, that dealer needs to pay a price. That's the price that the dealer has to recondition that car, so do the recon and then sell it for a profit. So there's no money to work with. If you trade it in, that dealer has obviously kickback from the bank, DIC, and profit in the other vehicle. So typically, I did a deal today. Okay, this is like literally happened probably an hour before I came here with Eugene. So Eugene's got a car. The customer's been offered 230 on that car. Okay, 230,000. Morse is at 220. So we're 10 grand off. Okay. Eugene's a G. He does not present the offer to the customer. We have 50,000 Rand DIC. It's a very good customer buying a very expensive car. Okay. 50,000 Rand DIC. Sit down, we look at the numbers. He's been offered 230. We want to eliminate our competition. So we're making 40 on the car, and there's a 50,000 Rand DIC. Morse is at 220. Okay, Morse, here's how we absolutely blow everybody out the water. Take 40,000 Rand of your DIC, give it towards the trading. Now the customer gets presented 230 from the other dealer and 260 from us. Okay. The car is not worth 260. The car is worth 220. But we're taking our profitability, 40,000 of the DIC, putting it towards the trading, customer smiling. And I'm not even doing this, under the table. Sir, this is how we achieved your price of 260. We're paying you 220, taking 40,000 Rand from here, adding it onto your trading, paying you the 260, and then we call it an OA. We're bringing the car back to 220 and selling it for 249.9. That's why you might get more on a trade-in 9 times out of 10 than you would selling it privately. Now, sometimes we get 712 Rand DIC. I can't compete with 712 Rand DIC. That's why we'll now cannibalize our profit if we really want to move the car. If we don't want to move the car, it is what it is. That's our officer. And then we compete on brand, we compete on after sales, reliability, etc., etc. But to answer your question, I gave you a real life scenario. I hope you enjoyed it. A random question: what is your thought on the new MG, not the hybrid one? So the new MG, a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, one of their dealerships closed down. They had 15. I can't remember the exact one, but it was sort of like the mid-level spec automatics, where dealer billing was 285. Dealer billing is how much the dealer pays the factory, the OEM, to buy the car. The dealership closed down and they wanted to give us all 15 at a very reduced price, like 50, 60,000 Rand under dealer billing. I said to the team, I said to Moss and George, buy the cars I'm in. Let's go. We'll sell these cars. Said no, they're not interested in buying the cars. Well, why not? Well, if this dealer's closing down, are others closing down? So eventually I got outvoted in the buying office because it's a democracy. If they outvote me, I just move on, carry on. We we go and look for other stock. And having the conversation a couple of weeks later, they came to me and said, we should have bought these cars. It was a mistake on our side. My bad. I said, listen, we don't cry over spilled milk. There's water under the bridge. Let's just continue, learn from this mistake. But as a brand, I don't see anything wrong. I really want to drive there. I think it's called a Cyber something. There's an electric car where the door opens like a scissor. Apparently that thing is hack fast. So I really want to drive it. And I've tried to buy one or two on the road, but they're very, very expensive still compared to what they sell for new. But as a brand, I don't see any problems with it. Like I said, like OEMs, manufacturers literally can't afford to manufacture a bad car today. It's not possible. It will never pass the regulations, the tests, the CO2 emissions. Will they be able to box in South Africa for the next 10, 15 years and provide backup service, have the parts, have everything available? I don't have future eyes. Time will show us. But for now, the dealer network seems solid. I don't see any problems. Okay, David, thank you for taking the time and energy to educate us and share your wisdom. Is there any benefit or difference in buying a second-hand BMW from a BMW dealership versus an independent dealership? So, great question. If you think dealership is run typically, the organogram, there's a dealer principal that has to make the decisions and drive the teams. Then there's sales managers, new and used, and there's workshop managers, and then there's the sales team. So you're buying the car from people. If you go buy a vehicle at a BMW flagship dealership, you're also buying it from a person. If you buy it from Midmac, it's also from a person. What you need to consider is the reputation of the independent dealer is hyper important, because about a week ago, I had a 40i BMW. Customer says, I've seen the same one at Sandton BMW. Sweet. Go on Auto Trader, pull the ratings and reviews, and then I've worked my tail off to make sure that our reputation is number one on the African continent. So, very similar car, very similar price, very similar spec. There's like literally no difference. The difference is in what you didn't see. That dealership's rating is, I think, 2.7, mine is 4.8. In the case where you need me, okay, who do you think will be at your assistance no matter what? The 2.7 or the 4.8? 50 reviews, 1,300 reviews. People that have bought and experienced how we operate. Who do you want to buy from? Make your call, let me know. Customer came to the coffee shop, had a coffee with his wife, showed the car and left. So is there a difference? Yes, there is. An independent dealer must check the Motorplan comments. That's very difficult to do unless you have a contact, I admit. A normal independent guy can't phone and say, hey, Frikkie, I want to check this VIN number. Those guys are so busy, they don't have time for you. So if the independent dealer has checked comments and can provide you actual paperwork or screenshot that the car has never had red comments, or if it has had comments, what the comment was. Now, comment, everybody freaks out, the car's got a comment. Listen, you hit a pothole, insurance has to replace a shock and a rim and a tire, there's a comment. The comment is 50,000, for example. I don't mind because I've hit many potholes. Now, if it's a comment where the vehicle had a 400,000 Rand repair, that's a different story. But what investigation has the dealership done into that car's specific VIN number? If they can produce the information and are transparent and show you everything, it's the same, because the vehicle will go for a quality check. The quality check makes sure that that vehicle is perfect. Whatever needs to be changed is then obviously on that person's account. But once it passes quality check, the vehicle, the BMW motor plan, is registered on your name, and then you can take the car in for services. If you push the SOS button, they phone you, all this other stuff. But if it's passed the quality check and it's a good, reputable dealer that is transparent and provides you with all the info that you need to make a decision, same. Hope I answered your question. How then would you say about the insurance PMD? What would you say about the insurance PMD? I am not educated enough to be able to give you an opinion on that. I'm so sorry, man. I wish I was. The insurance companies that we work with, I could deliver an opinion on. I don't know what to say about PMD. Sorry, buddy. What is the hardest part of being a car salesman? The hardest part of being a car salesman. Okay, and it sounds easy. It's a very hard thing for me to teach my team, and that is the ability to control your emotions. For example, you get off a closing call, it's a great call, your energy is at a 10, your fire in your belly is at a 10, excitement, everything is at a 10. The way that you call the next customer is here. 3-4 customers down the road, you found the customer and that customer says to you, "You're bothering me. Why the F are you phoning me? Don't you know that I'm busy?" And slams the phone down. Now, all of a sudden, your energy goes from 10 down to 5. Now, calling the next customer at a 5 energy is unfair to that customer. That's the hardest part. How do you process self-talk? And this is a teachable skill. I spend lots of time with my guys on this. Lots of time. How do I have the same energy for the next customer after this guy kicked me in the balls? That's the hardest part of being a car salesman. I'm a small car dealer under 30K, having 3 at the moment. Any advice for me doing this 4 years now? So it's, think about it this way. The mess up. Think about it this way. We took, I'll tell you now, we took 14 years as Midmac Motors to break 100 cars. I got a mentor, it was PBD. I posted a picture of me and him the other day. Look, he's talking a lot of politics and he's involved with Trump and he's interviewing the guy from Israel and he's interviewing this, that, the third thing. So he's very involved in politics. When I met PBD, he was a business coach. He ran a company with 60,000 salespeople. He sold his company for $250 million. I eventually, because I formed part of a mentorship program, I had the opportunity to fly to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. I spent the weekend with him, met his wife. Her name is Jennifer. Roy Castillo, that's the right-hand man. Leo is the other right-hand man. Spent 3 days with his entire team. Spent 2 days with him, like this, in the same room, had lunch. I literally had lunch like on a big table like this. I made sure that I sat across him. And, one of the questions that I asked him is, PBD, if you cut yourself, what color is your blood? So he says, same as you, Barbie, it's red. And guess what? I can't walk on water and neither can you. So I said, I can do anything. He says, there's a nice swimming pool. Show me. I said, I can't walk on water. Exactly. We all make mistakes. We all learn from our mistakes. Now I'm going to answer your question this way. Once I fell into that mentorship program, it took me 9 months. So 14 years to get to 100 calls, 9 months to get to 200 calls. And that's the secret. You need to either go into a mentorship program, you need to speak to somebody in your industry that is a rock star that's doing really well to show you how that person went from 30 to 50. Because if I spend 2 hours with you, I'll show you 70 leaks. You're going to fucking hate me. You're going to be like, what an asshole, because I'll be direct. Because PBD says this to me. We're sitting across, what do you struggle with? So I struggle with going from room to room, speaking a different love language when the salespeople are not reaching target, and I flip them. So he said, why do you fluke them? Because I can't keep on repeating myself for the same effing thing, and then we're not getting it right. So he says to me this way, he says, but you are in the regain, retrain, remotivate, reevaluate, recalculate, retrain, remotivate. I said, until when? He says, until the day you die. That's your job. But this dude's been with me for 5 years. Yes. So you need to improve on the regain. That's the first part. The second part is when I walk out of a sales meeting. This morning's sales meeting was freaking awesome. I didn't know, but 2 of our boys have been to the mountain. Now, the initiation. Now that for me, I was like, oh, we go to the mountain, we hang out. Then they actually told me what happens in the mountain in winter without like any proper clothes, like a blanket. Fantastic sales meeting. We learned a lot. We learned little about the motor industry. We learned nothing about the motor industry this morning, but a lot about different cultures and how they're brought up and what's important and what's not. So I walk out of there high energy. Sometimes I walk out of there low energy. We plan 10 deliveries for the tier 3 team, and I end up delivering 3 cars. And I need to make sure that I show up correct to seek to understand why we didn't do 10. What is my fault? Because it's my fault. It's not the team's fault. It's my fault. We didn't do 10. We did 3. So, Louis, tell me about this customer. Why didn't we deliver the car? Well, we're not getting validations. Why are we not getting validations? Well, because we can't get a hold of the HR. The company doesn't appear on Google, so banks cannot confirm the business, and the HR has a cell phone number. But we can't do validations that way. All right, tell me more. Is there an email address? And then we start digging deeper because I need to provide them solutions to the problem. So I need to make sure that I don't pluck some of these oaks in the morning. And for many years I did that. Like, fuck, man. They're like typical having a mentor Bobby. How many fucking times have you heard me say, these are the next steps? Come on, oh, are you like, have a freaking coffee, wake up, switch on your brain. Very demoralizing, especially when done in public. So the moment I flipped that, and that's what PBD helped me with, the moment I flipped that, okay, cool. So what do you think we should do? Well, I think we should do this. Okay, cool. If he or she's on the right track, let's go. I believe in you. Let's kick ass. If they're on the wrong track, then I'll say, but what if this? Have you considered this? What about this? Let's try these 4 other attempts, and then we see after we've tried these 4 things. Okay? I believe in you. Go kick ass. That's the first part. The second part, why we only took 9 months to go from 100 to 200 and 14 years to get to 100 is because I did not know how to compartmentalize each department. So he taught me a system that's made me more money than anything else. It's a quadrant. Systems at the bottom. Sales, biz dev, that's training salespeople, business development, meeting, handshake, introduction to new people. The bottom 2, increase your sales. Okay, single digit. So single digit means less than 10% annually. And that's the focus that you're spending on. I know you are, because that's what I was spending. And your business, it will grow. But you are running, I was running at the wall at the speed of light, hitting my head until I break through, or my head breaks and then I take a break. Eventually, what unlocked for me was the top 2 of the quadrant, which is the next innovative campaign. The next innovative campaign means, what are we doing in the next couple of weeks or month or quarter that is so unique to the industry that it's unreasonable for us not to attract attention to ourselves. Okay, double-digit growth. And then the most important one is leadership development. When I leave here in 10 minutes, I'm gonna end this call. When I leave here, my communication is very structured. So I'm gonna jump in the car from my wife, babe, I'm on my way home, and she knows 25 minutes, whatever, I should be home. The next call is to the finance manager. How are your numbers looking? Are we down on approvals? Are we up on approvals? How's our closing ratios? How's our payouts? It's one thing. We need money. We need to pay everybody, and we need money. We need to make sure that the payouts are. What are you having problems with? Okay, that's a 5 to 8 minute conversation every night. Click. First manager. What's happening? Top G. Laka laka. Tell me about your day. Good, bad, and ugly. Okay, good was this, bad was this, ugly was this. Next manager. Then I don't phone Henry anymore at the depot because he gets more phone calls than even me. But we've got a different arrangement. If the situation or the fire is up to about a 7 out of 10, he doesn't involve me. If it's an 8, 9, or a 10, he will send me a text. If I don't phone him back or respond on text within a minute or two, he phones me. So literally, my phone is blowing up as we're speaking. I just want to show you guys. I don't know if the camera can see. This is all the WhatsApps. It's thousands that I have to deal with. Okay. I've got lots of missed calls. If Henry phones me, I pick up my phone. And then the conversation is this one. This is an 8, and it's a 60-second conversation. Okay, shoot. One of our drivers was just involved in an accident. He's okay. He was driving. This happened a couple of months ago. He was driving a Hilux back from KZN. There was an animal in the road. He veered off. He hit a tree. I've already informed the insurance company. The load bed is on the way. Is the driver okay? You sure? Yeah, he's cool. I've spoken to him 2-3 times. You need to be aware. I want you to hear it from me. Thanks, brother. You're a G. As long as the driver is cool, boom, click the phone. So the way that you communicate, and that is the leadership development part. I need to inject constantly, and it's also a re. I need to sell Bobby, me. I need to sell me to managers every day and continuously resell them every day. And that is how we took 100, 14 years to get to 100, 9 months to get to 200. Very cool question. You need to be mentored by somebody that hasn't done a course and sells you a course on how to sell courses. You need to be mentored by somebody that is actively killing it in the industry. And I reached out to PBD because if you've hired and trained and actively on your payroll have 60,000 salespeople, even though you're not in my industry, you're a recruitment machine and you're a people's person. I want to learn from you. Now, that visit to his home cost me R500,000, 500,000 rand that I had to pay, including flights, hotels, everything, to spend the 2 days. I've 30x, 10x, whatever the amount is. It's the payoff is just disproportionate to the value that I got there. Not because I can't read what someone else says in a book. It's different to pick up his energy. That guy's a machine. I said to someone that I interviewed the other day, huge fan of PBD. As he sits and speaks, he's speaking to 8 of us at his house. A PA brings him a cup of tea with honey. He doesn't even look or acknowledge. All he does is he jugs that tea or honey, then a yogurt comes in. The yogurt with a spoon. He doesn't acknowledge. He picks up the yogurt, eats the yogurt, puts it down on the table. Someone picks it up. He is a freaking machine. Me seeing that and being able to speak to a person that drives 60,000 salespeople was the difference from us, shooting. And obviously, being very picky on who my management team is and driving them to their individual personalities. Because one is a competitor, the other one is not a competitor. I can't speak to a person that's driven like me. I'm a madness guy. Like, if we get a report that a dealership is beating me on bank production, I want to burn down the world. I will not sleep until we not catch him, destroy that dealership's production because I'm a competitor. If I speak to one of my managers that way, I'm losing. He switches off. He's not interested because he's not wired that way. If I speak to Eddie that way, like, Ed, do you know that XYZ dealership has sold more cars than us and financed more cars through Westbank than us? Like, who gives a shit? I don't care. But if I tell him, Ed, we've got a situation where I need you to take your 2 kids out of Attridgeville primary school and put them in Linwood because in Attridgeville, just like in Linwood, they'll have access to dacha, they'll have access to drugs, they'll have access to this. But these parents are doctors, lawyers, attorneys, etc. These parents maybe not. Where would you like it? I want them to go there because the connections they'll make there coming out of high school will be different to there. Okay, cool. So how do we get that done? Top G, you tell me. Here's how we get it done. We get it done by you picking up your phone and phoning 200 connected calls per day, because I need 9 apps from you a day, which will produce between 3 and 4 approvals. And on your current closing ratio, homie, you will sell 32 cars, which will give you the opportunity to not only do that and buy a new property in mainland, but come to work with LV shoes and an M4. That's how we do it. Okay. So another dealer producing more at the bank, zero effect. Lifestyle, 100% effect. And I can't speak to Eugene the way I speak to him, because he couldn't care less about LV shoes. He wears fallies. Like, those fallies never break. So different and understanding personalities is what PBD taught me, and that's how we grow. I'm going to take one more question, and then we are done. Let's have a look at a cool question. Would you consider a fair amount of using for monthly according to aspiring salesperson who to get back to taking clients back? Any advice on aspiring salesperson to not get stuck when talking to clients? Thanks, potential client. Let me check if there's a business question. Do you get rebates by insurance companies for referring customers to that? Yeah, they do. They do give you rebates. What is the next auction? Auction is, I'm not sure. Friday. This guy's asking the same question. Okay, let's have a look. What is the main characteristics you look for when you hire a salesperson? Great question. What are the main characteristics that I look for when hiring a salesperson? I'm going to give you when hiring a experienced salesperson versus hiring a newbie. Newbie, I want enthusiasm. Everything else is a teachable skill, especially closing. And if you are introverted, the better. The extroverted guys kick down the door, Conor McGregor, swing the arms, I'll close every. That guy's toxic. That guy doesn't play nice with others, and because they end up working for weak leaders, I call them out all the time. You end up working for incompetent, weak leaders. You're allowed to throw tantrums at dealerships, and no one yokes you away. The first time I sniff a tantrum from a drama queen, I'm helping pack your table, and I'm carrying your box to your car and wishing you well. Go do that shit somewhere else. Not allowed here. Because it's very easy to teach closing skills, especially to introverts. So inexperienced, I look for enthusiasm. Our cadets, I want you to be here before me and I'm here first. Okay, I want you to leave after me and I leave last. I want you to constantly ask your team, how may I help you? Even though you've got zero skills, can I get you something? I want you to have enthusiasm, because if you are enthusiastic and we're sitting in a classroom and I'm teaching you a strategy and I'm teaching you a sequencing on how to, for example, extract a referral from a customer. When does it start? How do you correctly, what's the script that you use to extract a referral from customer? And you are enthusiastic. You ask questions and you cock it up. And then when we do role plays, you're like, but then you keep on trying. So I want resiliency and I want enthusiasm. Okay. When I'm hiring an experienced salesperson, this is it. This is the game here. How long have you been doing this? I interviewed a lady. She was in sales for 25 years. So 5 years longer than I've been selling cars. Very highly recommended. She is the savior of the motor industry. Cool. No problem. Long time ago, stop getting excited about these saviors. She comes in. Nice to meet you. Good eye contact. Professional language. Sits down. Say, okay, cool. Give me your Rolodex. Okay. Rolodex. Said yes. You've been selling cars for 25 years at 10 different dealerships, 20 different dealerships. How big is your database? Database. Yes. Your customers that you've served for 25 years. How many customers can you pull out your phone now and make an Excel spreadsheet or have some sort of a system that you can communicate that I'm whatever I am, Jolene, that's not her name, and I now work at the #1 car dealership on the African continent and I'm ready to serve you. How many WhatsApps go out? Well, I can look for the numbers. That is the most repulsive answer that you can ever give me as an experienced salesperson. So I ask her, are you easily offended? I say, before you answer, if you say, yes, I'm going to give you the soft version and I'm going to just try and help you in your future because I will never hire you. Okay, right there, a manager, I'll never hire you. Are you easily offended or are you not easily offended? Says, well, Pops, I'm kind of easily offended, but I would want the raw truth from you. Said to her, cool. Okay, you have conducted yourself for 25 years as an absolute amateur. And that's why you can never work for me as an experienced salesperson. You don't have a database. You don't call your customers and ask for referral. You don't, at 32 to 36 months, ask your customers anything in your family, anything changed in your current circumstance. Do you maybe have a child? Were you blessed with a kid? Did you get married if you weren't married? Is there someone else living in your house? And she says, that's the best advice that anyone's ever given me. I understand why you're not going to hire me. What should I do? So the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is right now. So what are you going to do right now? Tell me, what's your 3 moves? I like using that question. PBD likes that question. So first move, I'm going to go through my phone and I'm going to create a spreadsheet. I said, cool, what's your second move? I don't know. I'll give her the second and the third move. That's your 2 moves. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Thank you for coming out. It was a 4-minute interview, 5-minute interview. So that's the differences in experience versus experience. I hope I added value to you guys. I wish we could stay here all night, but there's like literally another 30, 40 questions that I can't get to, but perhaps I can get them sorted out next week. Wednesday, we'll do off the cuff again, customer training. If you want me to answer your question, please make sure that you have it ready, typed out, boom, in the comments, and I'll grab yours first, and we don't run out of time. Between now and then, see you guys on Friday. For those of you that enjoy the live auction, enjoy the rest of your night. Stay blessed.